So we're talking about going local as we're in a different country. How much of the local culture do you absorb? How much like local, because we both live in Japan, right?
Yes.
How much in percentage, for example? How much Japanese food would you say you eat?
Oh, I would say like probably 80% of
That's a
my
lot.
food is Japanese food. Yeah, I like it because most of it is healthy and it's actually what I can get in the cafeteria at work. So, yeah,
It's convenient.
it's convenient. What about you?
Well, I mostly make my own food, and Japanese food is really difficult to make, I think. I'm really challenged when it comes to cooking anyway. I'm really bad at cooking. And to have to try and learn a new style of cooking is just too much for me. I'm really lazy. So I would probably say if I'm cooking food myself, I never cook Japanese food. 0% of the time. I never. But if I go to a restaurant, then sure I can eat some Japanese food sometimes.
I sometimes watch the TV and learn how to cook Japanese food. There are some easy recipes. Do you ever watch the Japanese television? There's
I
tons of
try, but yeah, like you said, it's a lot of cooking
there's
programs.
a lot of that was what I'm about to say. There
Yeah.
tons of cooking TV shows programs.
Yeah, and I watch cooking programs and I just get angry that I can't cook. I can't do it like that, so I just get frustrated, so I stop watching.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
What about other kinds of shows? So like not just cooking shows.
Well, I guess they have pretty funny shows, but I don't understand what they're saying, but I try to follow them, and yeah, sometimes they're very interesting. They also talk about clothing season was trending in Japan, what young people are doing. They have some interviews sometimes, very interesting interviews, and they're always teaching you something. So it's something that I like about Japanese TV. You're always learning something from other countries as well.
That's true. So how about like your friendship circles? How much percentage of your friends would you say are Japanese versus international?
Oh, I would say probably 40% are Japanese. Yeah, the rest of them are international people because I work with international people, so I spend most of the time with them.
And when you're with your Japanese friends, do you speak mostly in English or mostly in Japanese?
Oh, I would say like probably 70% Japanese and the rest would be English because normally when they know a second language is English, not Spanish. So I like 0% Spanish
Oh, wow.
with Japanese, but yeah, like I would say 70% of the conversation is in Japanese also because I want to practice my Japanese.
Right.
Yeah, what about you?
Well, I'd say out of my friends, recently I've had like no time to socialize. So probably about 30% of my friends are Japanese. But when I speak with them, it's mostly in Japanese. I don't like speaking in English.
Oh.
It's just like probably for the same reasons as you. Like I want to practice my Japanese.
But I would say that from my Japanese friends, like most of them, probably like 80% of them always want to speak in English because
Right?
they want to practice
Yeah.
English too. So it's like a give and take. Like we speak a little bit in Japanese, but sometimes we speak more in English.
Yeah.
It depends also the topic and what you're talking about.
If it's a topic you can talk about, then yeah, go for it in Japanese. But if it's a
Yes.
difficult topic,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So, Gilder, we're both teachers
Yes.
and we both live and work abroad, right,
Yes.
from our home countries. I'm from Scotland and you're from Venezuela. So, I'm sure we both have to deal with homesickness because we're so far from our home. How do you deal with homesickness?
Oh, it's very difficult because, as you said, I'm so far from my country.
Yeah.
And like special seasons like Christmas or during the Holy Week is something that we celebrate
Okay.
a lot.
Uh-huh.
I feel really homesick, especially because of the food. We
Yeah.
have, particular food and also meeting with your friends, hanging out with them, going to the beach. So all those things that I don't have here yeah, it really makes me feel homesick. But one thing I do is I always try to go for things in the country where I'm living. So what do the locals do? Is there any interesting? And it's a sort of like an adventure because you're doing
Hmm.
something new, so you're kind of replacing something that you're used to do by
Yeah.
something new. So in a way, it's nice dealing with homesickness. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say. You said replacing. I was going to say just distract yourself
Mm-hmm.
with other activities. Obviously, we've met new people living here, and I've made some new and wonderful friends, and um, it's not the same as your life back home, but it's a good distraction, I think. You mentioned activities, so yeah, just exploring the new culture that we're in, and if feeling homesickness in regards to food, there's a lot of delicious food here, here in Japan, delicious food, so we can distract our needs, I guess.
Yeah, that's one of the good things of being in Japan is the fact that you get to know people from all over the world
Yeah,
and try so many different things.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a distraction, as you said, a
Mhm.
good distraction.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, one, I guess one strategy I have as well for homesickness is whenever someone um comes to visit, which is very rare, but it does happen. I send them a list of things that they can fill their suitcase with to bring over for me. Foods from home and
Yes.
just tea bags from the local supermarket and some cosmetics or toiletries that I cannot buy here, particular brands that I like. And it's little things like that that help me, I think, deal with not having them. Basically, having them that helps me deal with not having them.
I also do that
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, my family they try to visit me once a year,
Hmm.
so their suitcase packed of stuff from
Hmm.
Venezuela, which is very important for me.
Uh-huh.
And also, I try to find those supermarkets from South America, like Brazilian supermarkets,
Right, yeah.
or sometimes the Filipino supermarkets. They have stuff that we have in
Yes.
Venezuela. So
Yes.
yeah, it's very nice.
I actually used to live up in a different part of Japan where there was quite a large Brazilian population,
Hmm.
and there were many, like a Brazilian convenience store.
Yes. Oh,
Wonderful bread. The meat was good too. Yeah,
yeah.
lots of really good products. So I guess a shop like that would help you in particular.
Yes, I guess Brazilians they don't have the same issue that we have with homesickness because they can get a lot of stuff from Brazil here in
That's
Japan.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, there are international stores around. I'm lucky enough to, even in a small city like this, I have an international store that's reasonably close. So there are a few products that I feel happy about, I guess. Maybe I wouldn't even buy them at home, but when I see them in the shop here, I feel like, oh, I can't get
Yeah.
other things, so I'm going to buy
Likewise.
these biscuits or
Likewise, something that you can read.
yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Just peel the language sticker off the top and read the English
Yes.
below. Yeah, there are different ways to cope with it, I think.
Yes.
So, do you think that we should send people to Mars or the moon to spend all this money on space travel?
Well, I think we should. Um, Space travel can give people hope for the future, and space travel can unite people from different countries for a common goal.
Mm. But do any countries work together to travel in space?
Oh, certainly. The International Space Station
Mm-hmm.
has astronauts from different countries working together. Um, and I think that a joint effort is the best way to do space missions. I think that we could go back to the moon and learn much more by going there than we can learn if we don't go there.
I see what you mean, but I think we could learn more and we could improve more if we can help the people on Earth. Think of everything we could learn from the children that can't get an education these days. Maybe the next Einstein is a poor little girl who doesn't have the money to go to school. If we spent more money on school and clean water and vaccines, maybe we could learn more from ourselves than from going to space and going to Mars.
I agree with you that more money should be spent on education, but we don't need the next Einstein if we're not doing space travel. The problem is, what are people with money willing to spend it on? I think that it would be nice if we could have all the rich countries spend money on education for poor people. But if you look at the numbers, the cost of one space mission is much cheaper than the things we spend money on now.
Like what?
Well, the first example that comes to mind is war. One day of war is so expensive for all the governments and militaries that are involved. One day of war costs more money than one space mission. But
Yeah,
war
that's
goes
true.
on for days.
Yeah, and years.
So if you think about the money in terms of, so the money for a space mission seems expensive by itself, but when you compare it to other things, it's actually kind of cheap.
I see what you're saying. You're comparing the cost of space travel to war, but I would compare the cost of space travel to the cost of, for example, getting rid of malaria. I think we could get rid of a terrible disease like malaria for as much as we would spend on a trip to Mars.
Getting rid of malaria or going to Mars. Well, of course, I would also choose that we should get rid of malaria.
Maybe we'll have to agree to disagree.
We might have to disagree this time.
Okay. We've been hearing a lot about Mars in the news.
Yeah, NASA keeps coming out with announcements every year.
We just found out that there's water on Mars, liquid water.
Yes, recently they revealed that there's evidence of liquid water.
That's crazy.
Last year they announced that they definitely found ice, solid water, in the soil. In the soil on Mars' surface, they found frozen water. Now they found evidence of liquid water flowing.
Do you think people can go to Mars? Do you think we should send people to Mars?
I definitely think we can go there. We've already sent a number of spacecraft to Mars, starting with satellites many decades ago. Then there were landers, where a satellite landed on the surface and sent data back to Earth. Then we sent the rovers, little robot cars that drive around on Mars. So we've already successfully sent many missions to Mars. I'm sure we could do one with humans.
But none of the satellites or landers or rovers, they've never come back. Do you think we could send people and they'd come back safely?
Well, that is a problem. We could definitely send people to Mars, but bringing them back, having the astronauts come back to Earth, would be a much more difficult problem to solve.
So you think maybe we would send astronauts to Mars and they would never come back safely?
Well, if you think about the old explorers in the olden days, Explorers used to leave their home and find new regions and not plan to go back.
Yeah.
People used to take a risk that maybe they couldn't return. So I think there are people who are willing to go on a one-way trip to Mars. I'm sure there are people willing to do that. But are the rest of the people willing to send someone on that mission? I think some people will say yes, and some people will say no. I don't know what the percent would be, but
What do you
I'm
think?
willing to allow someone to do that. If someone says, I want to go to Mars, I know it's a one-way trip, but I want to go. I think that's okay. We
How-
should let them go.
How about you? Would you volunteer to go?
Oh no, not me. I'm staying here on Earth.
Okay.
So, what are 3 foods that you can't stand? 3 foods that you hate?
Number one would be chocolate.
Chocolate!
Yes.
That's crazy.
I don't like the feeling that you have when you put a piece of chocolate inside your mouth. It's like too hot. Like if I eat a piece of chocolate, I need to drink a lot of water. I don't like it. Yeah.
I will gladly eat all of your chocolate. If you have chocolate you don't want,
Yeah.
I'm here.
It's weird because when chocolate is very popular as a gift. Somebody's always giving you chocolate, and I take it because I don't want to say everybody like I hate chocolate actually. But yeah. What about you? What's something you don't really like?
Well, I have something I don't like that I think is really popular, and every time I say I don't like it, I always get the same like what kind of reaction, but I don't like ice cream.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like ice cream. I don't think food should be that cold.
Mm,
I don't like it. Food shouldn't be too cold to eat. It's just
really?
not.
You don't know what you're missing.
I'm.
Ice creams are really, really good, especially in summer.
Chocolate's really good. Chocolate. I'll take chocolate over ice cream any day.
Well, you can try chocolate ice cream.
Oh, chocolate ice cream is the worst. Chocolate ice cream is the worst. Ugh. No,
What
thank
about a
you.
second one? Do you have any second food that you don't like?
I don't like tomatoes,
Oh.
which is strange because I eat lots of pasta with tomato flavored stuff in it. But just tomatoes by themselves
Mm-hmm.
is not something I enjoy. Whenever I have like a hamburger with a tomato in it, I always have to take it out
Yeah.
and give it to someone else. Just, I don't like it. It's just juicy and not a good juicy way.
Mm-hmm. I don't like
Blech.
garlic.
You don't like
Yeah.
garlic?
I like garlic in food, but I don't like to see it or eat it and have the taste of garlic. I don't like it.
Once you've got the taste of garlic, you don't get rid of that for about 3 days, right?
Exactly, that's another thing. Yeah. So when my mom is cooking and using garlic, after that she had to remove it. She cannot leave any evidence that she was using garlic in her food. Yes.
Oh. Is there another food that you don't like?
Hmm. I would say sprouts, the Brussels sprouts.
Man, no one likes sprouts.
Yes, it's bitter, and even though some people say it's good for your body, I don't like them.
I think, yeah, sprouts are just universally hated. No one likes sprouts.
Yeah, well, but when you are a child, your parents, for some reason, are always giving you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cruel.
Oh, I don't like it. It looks like I feel like a cow eating those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's just, ugh.
What about you? Any other?
I have one more, but it's really strange. I've never actually eaten them, but looking at them makes me really uncomfortable. And that's olives. I hate olives. I
I
can't
love them.
stand olives. Just looking at them makes me want to scream.
Really?
Like, I think it's the hole. I don't
Mhm.
like the hole in olives. I'm like scared of olives. It's really strange, but
I
no.
like them. Very
You can have
tasty.
my olives.
Green, black.
Ugh, no. If I see them in a jar at
Better
the
than
supermarket,
chocolate.
just no. Ugh, no, 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 no. Don't like them. Scared of olives. It's the craziest thing ever, but no, don't like olives. Keep them away from me. Ugh.
Good.